Alright, so we're going to be going over transmissions. This was my S5 FC transmission. I have removed the tail housing and the bell housing and the shift forks. Well, yeah. And I am putting them into this system, which is a B2200 transmission, the center section. Here's the tail housing. This is RX-7. That is RX-7. So there's a few nuances. Basically, all you have to do between the different combinations of transmissions, the B2200, the FC, the S4, S5, and the NA Miata, this is all the same. The B2200, you'll see here, I broke my transmission because this gear isn't as thick as this gear, and thus, when they break like that. The B2200, these gears are the same width, so they're a little bit stronger. That's basically it. I mean, you can see another gear here where it's not exactly the same width, but it's the same on the B2200, I believe. I haven't checked that second gear, but anyway, there's a few nuances though. If you don't swap over your tail section for whatever car you're working with, then all of the mounts are different. The S4 is downward. The B2200 is a different tail section and different mount. The S5 RX-7 is angled mounts, you'll see here. And also, with this, with the same tail housing, you can have different shifter lengths. This is a first gen RX-7. The second gen RX-7 is longer by a few inches, or honestly about like 1.5 inches, 2 inches maybe. But this all, comes together. It's all the same transmission, just different add-ons and switcheroos. It's really all it is. And the teardown, it's not that bad. For the tail housing, it's just, take all these out and get it to separate. That's about it. For the bell housing, it's just this grooved bearing holds the bell housing inward, and you just need to take your time and hammer it around so that it separates. The issue you're probably going to run into if you do this, all the different sections are going to separate. There's one section, two sections, three. So it's just, you're going to end up having to take it apart anyway, and you're going to have to remove these roll pins in here. You can just use a piece of dowel or a screw and hammer them out. Just don't forget the orientation. And these are different for the different combinations. So the truck transmission, you'll see it comes down this far. The RX-7s are much higher. They're much closer to the body. I don't feel like taking this apart right now because I don't feel like getting crazy dirty. But just take my word for it. It's all slightly different. But the nice thing about this is if you ever have a swap, it's very easy to swap everything over. So you could do RX-7 rear half and B2200. So you could have the piston motor in an RX-7 pretty easily if you wanted to. Or you could do, easily as switching this with a Miata transmission, and you can have a rotary in it. So it's that easy. It's all pretty straightforward. Here's the C-clip. There's a shim that is in all of them, so make sure you keep that. One thing that is different between them is, with that shifter length, the rods are also different lengths. And the shifter itself, they all have one of these, but the FC RX-7 has roll pin to keep this in that shaft. That's where that hole is. But this is a first gen, and you can see it's actually threaded with a 10 mil. So that's pretty nice. But I'm going to be sticking with the RX-7 stuff. So I'm going to be getting this back together soon and back to drifting. I just need to get these damn bolts out. A little trick that I just did so I could get penetrant in there is I drilled the underside. You can see the little nub for where the bolt hole goes into. I just drilled that, and I sprayed some penetrant in there. So, if there's anything else, I will add it into this video. But I think that's about it. It's all, there's just different combinations. It's a pretty nice transmission. They're all slightly different. For some reason, the S5 RX-7 has this. I haven't seen any others that have that though. So to go into the minor differences, so here is a first gen RX-7 transmission, and it looks like the bell housing is about 13 5/8 or maybe a half. Here's the B2200. That is about the same as well. And then FC RX-7 is about 13. So, well, yeah, 13, 12 and 7/8, something like that. So, minor differences there. And then also, to adjust your shifter length, there's different options depending on what you go with. So the first gen RX-7 is this one, which is shorter in comparison. See how the bolts don't line up? They all bolt up to here. Don't disregard this. I was an asshole. I did that. This was the FC S5 RX-7. This is an S4 Turbo. Basically the same. So you can swap those out. They're interchangeable. It's all the same. Like, you still have to take this out and to get the dowel for the shaft that goes in through there. And here's the tube that goes with it. So it's all pretty easy. This is you do have to trade over the tube from whatever transmission it came from. Same thing with the shift rod, I guess. The rod will go on the different prongs there, which are all here. This one goes here, this one goes here, and this one goes here. Make sure you take pictures, fair warning. This goes up through the tail shaft, and it sits in here, in those prongs, and that's how you select which gear you want. But this is different than the one that is in here. See how it's right about there? This is, the one I'm holding is the FC RX-7. This is the FB RX-7. So, just fair warning. The B2200 is completely different. The shifter mount is mounted on the tail housing itself, and it's much shorter rod. So this might be very handy for other swaps, like into, I don't know, like a MG or MGB, or like, you know, one of those old sports cars where they're very short. Using this tail housing, which is integrated with this, would be probably really nice to put a rotary, because you could swap in the bell housing with this tail, with the 13B bell housing with this tail shaft, and it would fit right in. You just got to do a custom lower mount, which is super easy. It's just this, then connect it to the body. So, just some options I wanted to show you. There are also differences with the shift fork placement, because the ball, depending on which transmission, is in different spots, so your shift fork lands in different areas. So this is the B2200. It is on the left side of the transmission, I believe. I can't really tell because I'm not used to these transmissions. But on the FC, it is top left. Same thing with the first gen FBs. But actually, I think this is the top here. So I believe it's on the bottom right here. Yes, because you can tell, because this is the top hole. So there's nuances in that way as well. You'd have to maybe do a custom slave cylinder hydraulic line or stuff like that. But all little minor things. You can easily get that made. So just a few options. Obviously, you know, if you're just doing a swap over and you want some guts, so a new gear set or something, all of these transmissions, you just got to trade out the bell housing, tail housing, and the little shift prongs, and then you're good to go. That's what I'm doing here.